Hello, good afternoon. I'm Mabh Savage and I've been asked to come in and give you a little talk about my book Celtic Witchcraft. First off, I think that this event, the online Beltane Festival, wow, what an idea. Um, I know what it's like to not be able to get out. I suffer from anxiety and depression. Sometimes it's alright, sometimes it's crippling, and sometimes I don't get to leave the house, and sometimes I don't get to do the things I want to do. So to have something online that allows people to come and join in, especially when it's to do with your spirituality, your path and faith, something that's really important to you, I think that is just amazing. So thanks Pagan Federation Disabilities team for putting this on. It's just mind-blowing, absolutely brilliant. So sort of the middle of the afternoon here. Got all sorts going on, so day-to-day life of a Celtic witch, pretty much the same as anybody else's. As you can see, I'm putting stuff away. I've just made a sausage sandwich for my little boy, who's just wandering around at the moment. Got washing going on, tidying, sort of, stuff everywhere. But let's give you a little talk about the book then. So the book is part of the Pagan Portals series. Now, Pagan Portals is a series by Moon Books, and they're designed to give you an introduction, a little opening, if you like, to whichever aspect of paganism they happen to be about. Some are about specific deities, some are about specific paths, and mine is about what I call Celtic witchcraft. Now, I think the important thing to remember about that is I call it Celtic witchcraft because I'm a witch, and I personally feel that my path that I follow is highly influenced by Celtic mythology, history, and the influence that Celtic culture has had on modern day life. I think that's really important to mention, because there are Celtic reconstructionists, and that's a really interesting subject, but mine is not Reconstructionism. Reconstructionism implies that you're trying to do things in exactly the same way, or as close as you can get to your ancestors. Now, while I find that absolutely fascinating, my book does not cover that. My book is about how to practice witchcraft in a thoroughly modern setting. So, in a world of clocks, calendars, deadlines, stress, all these very modern things, how can you still connect to nature? How can you still find your own personal divinity? Find that connection to your ancestors? How can you do all that but still get the bus on time and clean the car and all these things? My whole point is that there doesn't have to be a juxtaposition. There doesn't have to be a clash of worlds. You can absolutely have a holistic approach to your spirituality, embracing your modern life, embracing the modern world, and also forging that connection to your ancestors at the same time. So, give you an example. We've just moved recently, and I'm just going to do this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. You can see just over my shoulder there, this is my new outdoor space. Now, just here we've got a beautiful silver birch tree. Now, this might sound a bit odd, but that is basically one of the main reasons I moved in here, because I saw that tree, which speaks to me of resilience and strength, the ability to bend without breaking, the epitome of growth. It grows so tall, but it just keeps going, rooted in the earth, reaching to the sky, home to dozens of birds. Flowers that don't look like flowers are something a bit unusual. The bark, obviously silver, associated with knowledge because it's historically used for scrolls. What a wonderful symbol, it's a wonderful omen it was for me. So I looked at that tree and I thought, this is going to be a good place, and fingers crossed, so far it has been. Also, I've got a bit of grass now and got some flat bits up at the top, so if I want to go outside and I want to just sit and be amongst what nature there is around here, then I can do. I've just written a piece for Pagan Dawn about my move and about the surprising amounts of nature that we've found around here. Just the other day, me, my little boy, my partner's little boy, we were out in the garden, all three of us, and George, my partner's little boy, he says to me, "What's that under there?" And it was just under a bit of wood. And the cat was trying to get it. And I said, "I don't know, what is it?" And he said, "I think it's a scorpion." I said, "I really don't think it's a scorpion in England." And he said, "Well, it's slimy." So we went and had a look, and it was a frog. It was a sunny day, and the frog had obviously got under the little dark bit of wood. The cat was trying to get it, so the cat wandered off. She did her own thing, and she got bored with it in the end. And immediately it was that thing of, now what can we do to help that? And this is part of what I'm talking about, this connection to nature. It's not just a case of, oh, there's a frog in the garden, that's cool, which it is cool. It's totally cool to have a frog in the garden. But then we were all three of us instantly, you know, the 4-year-old, the 5-year-old and the 34-year-old all going, now what can we do to make our garden more hospitable for that frog? So we built a pond. We literally went from, we're going to go outside to play with diggers to, right, we're building a pond. And it was like a little morning project that we did, and it was fab. We got little shells in there, a little sitting place so the frog can climb out if it needs to, and so far nothing's really come in it because, you know, they have to get used to the space. But it was just that feeling of like, now that nature, that aspect of nature, that amphibian, that connection to water and earth, that aspect of the universe that is separate to me but connected to me, has come into my garden. It has blessed my garden, our garden, with its presence. And I want to thank that. I want to say thank you. And you're welcome. You are welcome anytime. And just make it as hospitable as possible. And in doing that, we also created a little water area, a little elemental garden. So we've gone from that connection to nature to the connection to the more metaphysical elements. We've obviously got your standard Western elements of earth, air, fire and water. The garden pretty much covers earth, you know, because it's made of it. We get the air covered by not just the wind that rushes through the trees, through the lovely birch tree, but also it's full of birds, is this garden. So we have harbingers of air and harbingers of spirits of the east constantly. We have tits, blue tits, great tits, cold tits, nobody laugh. We have pigeons, we have collared doves, wood pigeons. I keep looking out to see what's there now. We've got magpies, crows, jackdaws, 2 separate pairs of jackdaws nesting on the roof at the moment, and it was very windy the other day, and we came back and the driveway, which is out the front, scattered with twigs because the nest had been destroyed, and we were so gutted. But they just kept going, bless them. They're just back and they're just starting again, so they don't seem to have been put off. So the jackdaws nest on the roof, the collared doves come and sit on the sky dish and make a right old racket outside the window. The magpies taunt the cats. That's amazing because the cats sit just about here in the middle of the grass, and you probably can't see that the magpies sit in the tree up there, and the magpies shout at the cats and the cats meow at the magpies, and it's just like this weird Mexican standoff. It's very funny. So we've got elements of air all around, in the creatures, in the weather. Fire, we're coming into summer now. We've just passed Beltane, Celtic Fire Festival, the one, probably one of the most documented festivals of Celtic peoples, especially Irish Celts, just because of the sort of 13th, 14th, 15th century literature we have, which refers back to Beltane. And one of the aspects of Beltane that is always picked up on in whichever sort of literary source you go to is that Beltane was a time for fires. Some people say these are the fires of druids. Some sources say these fires were to either for cattle to jump over or to walk between, to kill ticks, to kill parasites, lice, that sort of thing. And some people say they were to honour Bel, Celtic god. Whatever the reason, we can be fairly sure that since the Iron Age, if not before, Beltane has been a time for fire, for lighting fires, for bringing the fire out of your home, where you've basically been hiding over winter with the fire in your home in the winter to keep you warm. It's time to put out that fire, and with the embers of that fire, walk out into the world and create a new fire. Now that's really literal. It was a custom in parts of Ireland to use the embers of your hearth fire to light the bonfires outside. That was a thing that was done. When you think about what that means to us as people, in a way, whatever we've built and sheltered and reflected on over the darker months, at Beltane it's a time for shedding light on those ideas, on those goals. You might not be going anywhere. You might not be able to. It might be a case of this is something you've dwelled on for a very long time. And now it's time to either get help, to talk to somebody about it, or simply to start writing these ideas down, to get them out of your head and into the world where they can interact with the world, with nature, and to become influenced by the world and by the universe. That is the power of fire. That is the power of change and of transformation, to take what is liminal, neither one thing nor the other, on the edge of something, and to push it beyond that, to realise it, to make it factual, whereas before it was only potential. So we've got earth, air, fire, and then of course water. And water, as I say, we brought the water into the garden by making the little pond. Now water, for the Celts, it's about wisdom. We'll hear about the pools of wisdom, with the salmon of wisdom, which actually came from the hazelnuts of wisdom, which fell into the pool of wisdom, and the salmon ate them and became wise. But still, water, very much about wisdom, about journeys, the journey of life that we're all on, obviously. Fords appear many, many times in Celtic mythology, crossing that water, a point where the water is its shallowest, but it's still a trial. You've got rushing water at one side, rushing water at the other, and you've got to find that safe place to cross. It's symbolic of finding a solution to a problem, finding the way to get through a particular trial. Water is destructive, it's beautiful, it gives life, but it can take it away. It's the element of many, many contradictions. And to me, it also speaks of dreams and emotions. I'd absolutely love to hear in the comments what the elements mean to you guys. Especially at a time like this, time of Beltane, when we do rituals, and we often do, a lot of paths. We'll start to do some circle-based work where you might call to the elements. When you're speaking to fire, what are you speaking to? Who are you speaking to? What does it mean to you? What is it evoking within you? The same for air. I mean, air for me, the birds very much are the air. They are my, I hesitate to use the word totem because there's too many of them to say that, but when I hear the birds singing, it speaks to me of air, of the wind, of things changing, new beginnings, of the sunrise in the east. When I did my Beltane ritual this year, it was a ritual for letting go. My book, Pagan Portals, Celtic Witchcraft, was launched last Friday, and at the launch I asked if everybody would be willing to write something on a piece of paper that they wanted to let go of, because as we've already discussed, fire is about transformation and change, but it also burns away that which is not necessary. It destroys, and we can use that destruction to our advantage. We can get rid of things we don't need anymore. Quite a few people obliged, and I got a lovely collection of little handwritten notes at the end of the night, which I kept safe. And I went away for Beltane, just a little private gathering, and I took those notes and I performed a little ritual. And at the start of the ritual, I had a fire blazing, a campfire blazing, which had been done for the whole camp anyway, and I was performing this ritual on my own because everybody was sort of doing their own thing. And I had a bottle of water with me, a little hip flask full of vodka, and when I spoke to the elements, I had the fire in front of me for fire, water I dribbled on the ground from my bottle, the earth I just touched the ground beneath my feet, and for air I listened for the call of the curlew. It's a very unusual sound, but they nest up near where I go camping, and you hear them flying over, and it's like a whooping sound, almost like a gibbon, and then sort of a trill sound afterwards. It's an absolutely gorgeous sound. If you can probably YouTube curlew call, and it is absolutely beautiful. And I listened for that call, and that, for me, in the ritual, that was my connection to air. So I had all the elemental connections there. I offered my spirits to the spirits of time and place, dribbled some on the ground, and all the notes, all the hopes and dreams of the people who had given me their words to look after, one by one, with honour and respect, they went into the fire with a wish that whatever this person wanted to let go of, they would be able to. Now, they know that they have to work at that. They know that whatever it is they have to let go of, they have to work at that. But they've made a commitment now. They've given their words to the fire via me, but I've also made the commitment to give their words to the fire, whilst also calling upon the blessings of the Tuatha De Danann, in particular in this case the Morrigan, because she helps us strip away our outer selves and see what is truly within. And also Lugh, because Beltane is the Celtic start of summer. It is the Celtic part of the lighter half of the year. And Lugh is sunshine personified. He is, for want of a better word, the sun god of the Celts. He is the shining one. His shining visage is referenced various times in Celtic literature. So I envisaged him using his light, using his radiance to scour away the things that needed to be cut away, that needed to be got rid of. We don't need to see those things anymore. We need to be cleansed, and we need to see only what we need moving forward, the goals we need to move forward to. And when that is cut away, we are lighter in ourselves. And if there is a space left within us from that being cut away, it can be filled with hope and opportunity. And that gives us these joyous feelings that you get at these times of festival, when you just let go of these things that tie us down, that weigh us down, and we feel this immense happiness rise up through us. And this is what causes people to want to dance around the fire, jump over the fire, because suddenly you're almost weightless, you're light, you have to, even if it's only mentally, you have that joy. And that is one of the things that fire brings us. Fire is transformation. It destroys, but we can use that destruction to our advantage. I hope that's been interesting, at least a little bit. If you want to hear any more, give me a shout. I was going to do a series of vids anyway, so if there's any topics regarding Celtic mythology, Celtic witchcraft, Celtic inspired spirituality that you'd like me to ramble on about, please do leave a message in the comments, and please come and see all the other videos at the online Beltane festival. I just think it's an absolutely fantastic idea, and thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Okay, thank you so much. Sláinte.